Hey, first grade, we're going to start a new unit together. This unit is called geography. Now, geography is a little bit of science and a little bit of social studies. It's science because we're going to look at the earth and the earth's parts, its main parts, the land and the water. It's also about social studies because we're going to find where people live on the earth and identify those places by calling them continents. So, in this unit, we're going to study the parts of the earth and the places on the earth where people live. So, a little bit of science and a little bit of social studies. All right, I want to talk about our big idea for this unit. The big ideas. Can you read it with me? Maps and globes are tools that help us see where things are in the world. Maps and globes. Behind me is a map. It's a world map, so you can see every place on the world at the same time. And you can see how far apart they are. You can also see on a map how much water there is on the earth. See all the blue areas inside this circle? All those blue areas are water. All the colorful areas show you land. Now there's one area in the world where the land is always covered with snow. Do you know what that is? That's Antarctica, and it's down here. So there's land, but it's covered with snow. So the artist that drew this map made it look white or blue, but the other blue is to indicate how much water there is on the earth. And we're going to find out how much water there is and the different ocean names. Now we also said that we're going to use a globe to discover the world. Do you have a globe at your house? Maybe you might even had a globe in your first grade classroom. A globe is a type of map that's shaped like a sphere. Remember our solid figure? And it shows us the shape of the Earth as a planet. Earth is a planet up in the solar system. When you use a globe, though, you can only see one part of the world at a time. When you look at a world map, you can see everything. But when you use a globe, you turn it to see the part of the world you're looking for. So globes and maps are both tools to help us find things, but they're in different shapes. Now, let's talk about how to use a map and something you need to know about maps. When you use a map, you need to know your sense of direction. Okay, so let's look at another unit goal. A unit idea and a unit goal. A goal would be something that you want to achieve when you're done. So when we're done, these goals are things you're going to be able to do. Here's our first goal. I can identify cardinal directions using a compass rose. A compass rose is how we identify what direction we're going. Do you see anything over here that looks like a rose or a compass? If you looked up here, you're right. A compass rose is the name of the picture on a map or a globe that shows you which direction a place is on the map. Now let's look up here. I've put some big letters. And also, I think the reason why they call it a rose is because people like to decorate the inside of it. I draw a simple compass rose though, like this. And we'll talk about this a little bit more. But when I want to draw a compass rose, Mrs. Coppola uses those same letters, but I just put arrows to point the way. And I'll show you my drawing. See my compass rose? Now let's talk about what each letter means. When you head up on a map or you look up, that's north. When you look to the right, that's east. When you look down, that's south. And when you look left, that's west. N-E-S-W. Let's use our compass rose right now. I could identify where Antarctica is on the map by looking south. Here's our directions, and remember south is down. Antarctica is at the bottom of the earth, and we call that south. Okay, so we're going to use the compass rose during our unit to discover different places on the earth, and you will get good at using it too. Okay, here's another goal. I can identify bodies of water and land masses on a map. A body of water would be an ocean or a sea or a lake. A land mass is a big area of land, and there's names for those. Let me tell you the names. Here's another goal. When we're done with this unit, you'll be able to do this. Can you read it? I can find continents and oceans on a map. Continent is a land mass. Mass means big, a big area of land. We're going to find the continents today on the map. You'll also be able to find oceans on a map. Now, we already said on this map, the ocean is identified in blue. But how many oceans are there? And how many continents are there? Remember, a continent is a big area of land. Let's look at our next goal. A map or a globe of our world shows the 7 continents and the 4 oceans. Now, that's an important goal. I want you to remember that there's 7 continents on the earth and there's 4 oceans. And we'll talk about the oceans in a minute. But let's look at our continents first. As you study a map, you'll get familiar with the shapes. And then, without a map label, you'll be able to find the continents by recognizing their shapes. Now, remember how many there are? Do you remember? There's 7. There's 7 continents. And I'm going to read the names to you. And let me see if I can click this up so I can read them while I'm talking to you. I'll cover the map for a minute. Okay, so there's 7 continents. The first one is Africa. Africa is somewhere on this map. Antarctica, well, we talked about that already. Remember, it's south. It's down here at the bottom. Asia. When you think of China, China is in Asia. Australia, and I happen to have Australia right here on the map. Australia is unique because it's also an island surrounded by water. Europe. England is in Europe. When we learned about the Pilgrims came from England, and England is in Europe. Remember how on the map we would show how they had to travel across the ocean to get to the New World? North America. Does North America sound familiar to you? It might, because you live in North America. That's our continent. Say North America. And then there's South America. Now, we already practiced using that word south. Antarctica is south on the map. South America means it's lower than North America. Okay? And over here, Mrs. Coppola drew in blue the outline of the United States of America. The United States of America is on the continent North America. North America is here where we are, and South America is below it, right there. Okay, now let's talk about the oceans of the world. There's 4 main oceans, I think. Let's read and find out first. I'll hang this up again, and then I'll take it down and we'll find all those places. So there's 4 main oceans. Let's read them together. The Arctic Ocean. And the Arctic Ocean is at the top of the world. So you could say that the Arctic Ocean is north on the map. The Atlantic Ocean. The Atlantic Ocean is the ocean that the Pilgrims had to cross to come from England, which is in Europe, to the New World, which is in the United States of America. The Indian Ocean, near the country of India. And the Pacific Ocean. Now, if you go to the beach, you go to the Pacific Ocean. Not a lake or a river, but when you go to the beach with the ocean, that's the Pacific Ocean. That's actually close to where we live. And then I put a red dot there. What does that red dot mean? It means that I have something more to tell you about that. There's actually a 5th ocean. But when I made this poster a few years ago, I didn't include it because some scientists were arguing about whether there was really 4 oceans or 5. I think it's okay to say 5 because the 5th ocean is just going to describe the ocean near Antarctica. Do you remember what direction Antarctica is? It's south. So many scientists include a 5th ocean and they call it the Southern Ocean. Okay, I'm going to take this down now. And we're going to look at the map again. Okay, so remember, we're going to learn to identify 7 continents and 5 oceans. I'm going to point to them on the map. I know you can't see them closely, but I want you to be able to start practicing the shape of them. Later on in this lesson, we're going to do a worksheet together, and you'll be able to find the 7 continents and the 4 oceans on a world map. Okay, so the first continent is Africa, and Africa is right here. Do you see the shape of it? Africa. The next continent is Antarctica. Down here, Antarctica is always covered with snow. It's very cold. Antarctica. Asia. Do you remember when I said what countries in Asia? China. Now, Asia takes up this big area of land that includes India and Russia too. And then there's Europe. Europe it's smaller than Africa or Asia, but it's still its own continent. The Pilgrims left Europe in England to come to the New World, and they had to travel across the Atlantic Ocean. Now here's Australia. Australia is a unique continent because it's not only a continent, a large area of land, it's an island and it's surrounded by water. It's the only continent that's an island. North America. Do you remember why that one is important? We live on North America. Now, North America includes more than this blue line that Mrs. Coppola drew. I wanted to outline the United States in blue so you could see your country, but your continent includes this area up here higher. Your continent includes another country, Canada. We're part of the same continent, but we're not the same country. And the last one is South America. South America is right here. It's below us. We're North America because we're higher up on the map. South America is below North America because it's lower on the map. So that's an opportunity for you to get used to the names again and the shapes of the continents on the map. Okay, and I'm going to hold up this picture close to you. Now this page has a world map. It has a compass rose. Did you see it? But what I liked about this page is it shows you what kind of animal you will find if you visit that country. And animals are so cool. It helps you also remember the continents by what kind of animals live there. Now let's try to find the oceans on the map. Do you remember how many oceans there are? There's 5. Let's go with 5. Okay, let's start with the first one. In fact, I'm going to go north on the map. North is up. This is called the Arctic Ocean. Now it gets really cold up there too, but there's no land to cover with snow. But it's so cold, the ice freezes, and so there's icebergs. Enough icebergs and very large icebergs to make it look like there's land. And polar bears live up there, and they live amongst the icebergs because it's so frozen over there. So cold. And the next ocean is the Atlantic Ocean. Now the Atlantic Ocean starts about here and it travels down to here, and many people believe that it met up with Antarctica. But we're not going to describe the Atlantic Ocean that way anymore. We're going to include that 5th ocean, the Southern Ocean. But the Atlantic Ocean is what separates North America and South America from Africa and Europe. Here's another ocean. It's called the Indian Ocean. Now, India is this green triangle right here. The Indian Ocean is right here. I think it's called the Indian Ocean because it's so close to India. It's also a very warm ocean. The Atlantic and the Pacific and the Arctic and the Southern Ocean, they can be very, very cold. You've probably been in the ocean before and it's cold. The Indian Ocean is the warmest ocean. All right, now we've talked about our 7 continents and we've talked about our 5 oceans. And now I want to go over with you how to do the first geography page for your assignment. Now, because this video is long, I'm going to start to show you how to do this page on the next video. So this is Introduction to Geography Part 1 and Introduction to Geography Part 2 is when I'm going to do your paperwork with you, okay? So tune back in.